Playing with cameras has become one of my favorite technology pastimes over the years. It's one of the more fun gadgets I get to have because it brings both the technical side and the science behind it and the processing of images and learning the technology itself, and blends that with art, creativity, actually composing, lighting, setting photographs, getting them how you want. And it's been very fun to have really gotten into the photography and videography space. But that also means I like experimenting with older stuff. I've made a video about my film camera that I prefer to shoot on. I've actually picked up a couple more since. Maybe I'll cover them in future videos. But I wanted to cover the oldest digital photo camera that I have. This is the Nikon Coolpix 900, not to be confused with the more recently released P900 from them. This thing released in March of 1998, and I'm not 100% certain of how much it costs because there's Canadian prices that it was $1,200 back then in Canadian dollars, but then reviews for American currency listed it as a really good below $1,000 kit. So somewhere in there. This thing takes 1.3 megapixels on its CCD sensor and comes with a 4 megabyte CF card. Compact flash card that actually still came in this when I got it. I actually picked this up in box. It's not new, it wasn't new old stock, it was something someone used, but they kept the box, they kept the camera strap, they kept all the cables, the memory card in it, and I picked that up at my local Goodwill. I was interested in it because A, it came in the box, and B, it said on the box, oddly enough, that it came with some sort of demo or shareware version of Duke Nukem, which was a very bizarre concept to think about paired with a digital camera. But I thought it'd be pretty cool to check out. However, I don't think Duke Nukem was included. It looked like they just had like burned copies of the main software. So that was a little disappointing. This thing is quite the treat, however. It is a rectangle, not something you normally see in camera shapes. And it actually has this kind of modular rotating bit for where the lens and flash goes. It also has a 1/4-20 tap on the bottom. Now, the cool part about this, if I take the lens cap off here, is it does have a live view monitor. So I can flip this over, turn it on, and it takes quite a few seconds to boot up. But once it's booted up, I have a live view on the back screen to start taking pictures, or I can turn that off and just use the viewfinder, which is very interesting. It has 2x digital zoom with Nikkor glass, of course, and it takes pictures, and like I said, 1.3 megapixels. That works out to 1280 by 960 in the higher quality mode, or 640 by 480 in the lower quality mode. Now, I had hoped that I might get a little bit more nostalgia out of using the 640 by 480 mode, but I actually didn't like it that much, so I've just been taking pictures in the 1280 by 960. And take a picture of my setup right here. It has an automatic flash that you can turn on or off, and it has both an automatic, auto white balance, autofocus, things like that mode, or you can switch it over to manual mode, manually dial in your white balance, your color settings, your exposure, things like that, which is pretty cool for a camera like this. The lens is an equivalent 38 to 115 millimeter lens, supposedly. I don't know how accurate that is. Seems to be right. And the screen on the back is a 2-inch TFT LCD display, which isn't great, but helps you compose your pictures. And if you flip it over to play mode, you can at least get a general idea of what your pictures looked like in terms of whether you took them or not. And then you have zoom in and out controls on the side as well. But this flippy aspect means that you can rotate it a full 360 degrees, and you can take some interesting pictures depending on the angle that you need. Or using the live view mode, this is actually probably one of the oldest selfie cameras because you can flip it on and have the lens pointed at you, still be able to see the screen, and take some pretty cool selfies, which might give you a little retro vibe. Oh God, it's really zoomed in here. There we go. I have a retro selfie. Now, the cool thing about this is the pictures out of this bring back a lot of nostalgic memories. Especially when taking like setup pictures and things like that, I get nothing but nostalgia when I see old gaming or just general office setup pictures with all the CRTs, the older style towers, a bunch of friends sitting around eating pizza. You know, it was a very different time, despite the fact that it might look similar. but they're all with older cameras, which makes things look a little bit more nostalgic. And so I was hoping to get some sort of nostalgic shooting action out of this camera, and I do believe it does the job. I'd hoped, like I said before, dropping it to 640 by 480 would mean that I got a little bit more of that nostalgia feel, but honestly, the camera, the pictures wind up looking identically in terms of the feel, whether you're in 1280 by 960 or 640 by 480, so I don't consider that a big deal. But the shots from it are pretty cool. You don't have a whole lot of glitchiness or error related artifacting in the pictures. They're just low res, they're a little grainy. If you have the flash on, then it has that flash effect, which you don't see in a whole lot of pictures shared on social media and things like that anymore, because auto flash isn't as common as it used to be. But it just, something about the way it renders everything all flat looking and things like that makes everything look so nostalgic. And it's been a pretty fun camera. It's powered by 4 AA batteries, which last a very long time. I have left this thing turned off for a few months at a time, come back, and I'm still able to keep shooting. It's pretty handy. A lot of the time I enjoy, depending on where I'm going, shooting with older cameras like this or my film camera more than I do my expensive 60 Mark II DSLR camera, because I just get more character and nostalgic feeling out of these pictures. Now again, it depends on the circumstance. If I'm shooting something more modern or going out to like a local park, somewhere pretty, I want my real camera so I can get some nice actual photography shots. But if I'm just like goofing around or want to take pictures of setups or whatever, this thing's what I go to for digital. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Tech Scrapyard. If you want to see more retro camera comparisons or more retro tech in general, let me know in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe for more tech education and cool things like this, and I'll see you next time.